Sponsored by True Tech Tools. Quality tools, essential support. TrueTechTools.com.
Good morning, Facebook. So I'm sitting in front of the house that I was at yesterday. And so anyway, I got a text message from the customer last night. I had been away from the phone for a while and got back. Typically, if I'm not on call, I don't pay much attention to my work phone. But I got home and found a text from the customer. It said, "The blower won't turn off." Hello, viewer.
Turn left onto Samara Street.
The text message said the blower won't turn off and the condenser fan motor won't turn on. And I thought, oh crap. What did I forget to hook back up?
In 800 feet, turn right onto Vintage Grove Lane.
What failed after I told him that the system wasn't worth replacing yet? But I guess they called the after-hours service last night and got Eddie, my buddy that works with me, out there, and he said, yep, the blower motor wouldn't shut off. I moved one of the wires off of the contactor and the blower shut off and then came on when it needed to, but wouldn't stop whenever the purple wire was on L1. I didn't know that Eddie had been there last night. I was freaking out that a new customer was going to be pissed that their system was having issues after we'd been out there. So before my first call this morning, I ran over there to see what was going on. And it took me a second to figure it out because the schematic is fine, but everything's labeled with numbers plus a color, and I was having trouble tracking down one of the colors. So what I ended up finding out was that the two purple wires on L1 are neutral. One goes to the circuit board blower neutral, and one goes straight to the capacitor neutral. And then I traced out the blower speed taps and found that the medium blower speed had been moved from the circuit board to the L2 of the contactor, which meant that as soon as you got power to the system, the unit ran medium blower speed constantly. I put the blue wire back on the heat tap where it was supposed to be, and tested it, fired it, everything worked like it was supposed to. But then I was trying to figure out how in the heck did I miss that yesterday. And I think I've got it figured because there were two other contractors in that system the day before, or the same day, right before I got there. In fact, when I called the customer to tell her I was on the way, she said, hold off for a bit. I've got another guy with his fingers in there. I'll call you as soon as he's done. And so the only thing I can figure is that one of the other contractors may have moved the blue wire from the circuit board or simply put it there. I don't know exactly what happened, but whenever I started the system, it didn't matter that the blower was running, and I didn't bother to check and make sure that the system completely shut down after I had finished checking the system. And so that's where I missed the mark. If I had, gone through the whole shutdown process to confirm it, I would have noticed that the blower stayed running which would have ticked me off anyway, but it wouldn't have been as embarrassing as a late night call for Eddie and a call back overall. It's raining again today, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to be able to get into. Good morning, Neil Faircloth. No, you don't, do you? I'm supposed to be headed to a 2-system tune-up. I had been out there the other night, and the system was frozen up, blah, blah, blah. I'll get into that one maybe after I do that call, so that we've got a whole story on it. But I'd been out there for a no cooling, got them up and running, and told them that the systems definitely needed a good clean down and some additional adjustments and measurements. So that's where I'm headed right now. Not going to keep this very long. I'm not far from there, and I need to check in with the office. So I'll probably go live again once I finish this 2-system tune-up and give you an overview of that. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll be back a couple hours or so. Peace. Hello. I ended up catching another call before I got around to doing this video. After the 2-system checkup this morning, give everybody a minute, see if they want to come in and witness the joy that is a live stream on Facebook. Hello, Mike. One viewer's good enough for me. All right, so the title of this stream is 14 by 20 pleated filters are not good for a 2.5 ton system. I don't remember what I had talked about already about this system, but I had gone over the other night because the system had stopped cooling altogether, and found the system evaporator frozen. Welcome, Jim Luke. And the line set frozen, the accumulator frozen, and half of the compressor frozen. It's one of those MBE variable speed Goodman blower coil combos. It's a variable speed blower that Goodman came out with a long time ago, 10 years or so. But anyway, coil was frozen. I turned it to heat. It took forever to thaw it out, and I checked the refrigerant charge and it was crap. So switched it back over to cooling, and felt like the blower motor was not really turning very much. So I looked at the wiring and everything, and come to find out that since 2004, this variable speed 3-ton blower had never run a cooling fan speed. It only ever ran constant airflow. And the dip switches, if I remember, the dip switches were factory for 3 tons of airflow on a 2.5 ton heat pump. But the blower running on constant fan was nowhere near 3 tons, not even 2 tons. So that night, I just enabled the Y2 low voltage connection, which got the system to ramp up to a higher speed. I got the charge adjusted, and told them I'd come back on their original appointment, which was this morning, and try to balance the system out a good bit more. So I get there today and adjust the dip switches for 2.5 tons of airflow, and clean the condenser coil, flush the drain, clean the coil, blah blah blah. And with the 14 by 20 pleated filter, the system was running almost 1 inch of static. There's no static information on the unit. It simply says put your dip switches here and this is your airflow. So static really doesn't matter, other than that it does matter because of high amp draw on the blower and whatnot. So I pulled the filter out, and the return side of the system was pulling almost 3/4 of an inch of static, and pulled the filter out and it dropped down to about half. So I left the filter out for the remainder of my testing and got the system balanced out. On the first floor system, it was a 1997 Carrier 2.5 ton. That one ended up being a little low on the superheat, but not, I mean, it was like a target of 11 superheat and it was running 3. So it wasn't really great, but rather than break something that didn't need fixing, we cleaned the coils on that one and let that one ride for the time being. Capacitors and everything were in good shape, but I just wanted to drop in a little bit of a follow-up from this morning and give you that one. The one I just went to, the system had been checked back at the beginning of April, and it was given the thumbs up, good to go. But the company that did the check doesn't write anything down. They use a computerized dispatch system, and the technician's able to input notes, but it doesn't have any record of readings. So the initial check, they said everything was fine, and then 3 weeks later the customer calls back complaining that the system's not cooling properly, and a different technician from the same company goes out and says that the system is 3 pounds low on refrigerant, and best as I can assume, he may have found a bit of a leak at the piston nut on the Goodman air handler, because he says he fixed a leak and added 3 pounds of refrigerant and did a leak search. So I hit it again, since the customer was concerned. I hit it with the TIF ZX leak detector. Had absolutely nothing at the air handler, no indication of leakage. Went outside, started checking the condenser, and found nothing except for the suction line service valve leaking on the cap. The cap had not been tight, so I tightened that down and tightened the backed the service valve up a little bit more to see if it would seal up a bit better, and advised the customer the cost of replacing that service valve, and just explained, you know, if all you're looking at is pressures for refrigerant checks, it's nowhere near as specific as checking target superheat. So they were satisfied with you know, trying to tighten up that cap on the valve, and you know, seeing that the superheat was just a little bit out of target zone. It was 16 degree superheat target and a 22 or 21 actual, so it was just barely out of the +5 degrees. So that one was pretty straightforward for the most part. Right now I'm headed over to a business that had a system replaced recently, and they say it's not cooling. So I guess we'll see what we find when we get there, and maybe do another stream when I get finished with that one, depending on how interesting it is or is not. But anyway, thank you to the 5 viewers that are watching, and we'll check in with you guys later. Take it easy. Peace.
Don't forget, you can use coupon code RARVID and get $10 off your purchase at TrueTechTools.com, or the coupon code RARIDVM for $10 off your IDVM 510 meter. Thanks to the 100-watt Vipers for allowing me to use their music also. You can search for my Facebook group at HVAC with Stephen Rardon, or follow me on Twitter at Juvenile77. Thanks for watching.
But man, your heart is held